Hey guys, and welcome to a revised Lacrima guide. I hadn't done an update on this one in quite a while, and the video was quite old. And when I had made the initial video about the Lacrima and the Mist Burner, it was very new to the game. I didn't really have a super good understanding of it, and now that I have a much better understanding of it, I feel like it's time to do an updated video. So here we go. This is going to be a combination video between the Mist Burner itself and the Lacrima, which I had broken into two parts previously, but now I'm going to do it together. I'm going to start with the Mist Burner and how to get the Lacrimas, and then in the second section I'm going to explain what they are, what they do, and stuff. So obviously there's timestamps if you want to jump over anything. Obviously you can. And I hope the video helps anybody that's looking for this kind of information, or you learn some tricks or tips that help get the most out of your Lacrima, because I know since I made the initial videos, I went back and watched them. There's a bunch of things that I didn't talk about in those and things that I didn't know. And yeah, that's it. Okay, let's do this thing. Hey guys, Future Mike. I completely forgot to mention, and I want to start mentioning this in all of my videos. This was made during Season 3, and before the mid-season update, which is going to be on February 15th. So any new information that came out after that, I apologize that is not in this video, because I'm not actually from the future. This is me later in the day filming this. But yeah, I want to make sure I start pointing this out in the beginning of my videos. So this is Season 3 information. Okay, so first things, Lacrima, you're going to need to unlock it. Okay? It's a bit convoluted in the way that they have set it up to get a Lacrima unlocked, but the first thing you're going to need to do is, as you play through either maps or story, you're going to need to find one of these called a Mist Burner. And the first time you find one, all you can do... Are you not letting me in? There it goes. So the first thing you're going to have to do is just add charms or chaos stars or chaos orbs to it. And when you do that, what it's going to do is increase a timer, okay, that is going to put an effect on that map. So we're going to go ahead here and throw some charms in. Okay. Now what I recommend doing is obviously using your lowest tier, your worst charms, because they are going to be sacrificed. Excess chaos orbs that you have, ones that you might not ever use, those tier 7s or whatever that you are just really bad 8s or 9s or whatever, and throw those in until it gets full. So this is, again, your first time through. It's only going to be able to go to sacrifice level 4 and 450. Evans, there we go. So it's full. Now, what this will do is put an effect on the map, okay? And as you go through, you're going to fight enemies, and portals are going to open, and you're going to look for an item called a third eye. So it looks like this. You might not get one, okay, from your first Mist Burner. There are different varying levels of portal as you fight through it, and the final one is you're going to get, instead of getting 2 portals like you're going to get through the bulk of it, you're going to get 3 portals, and it's going to be a large red one. That's going to be a final boss guy, and he's more likely to drop a third eye, although anything is able to drop a third eye during this effect. The problem, and this is some people don't know, I've seen other streamers talk about this, if you don't kill every single enemy from a portal, if you just kill a few and move on, the next portal will not open. And people say, like, oh, I don't think I got a boss portal on that one, and that's because they missed an enemy, and that's they missed an enemy, and it's important to remember to kill them all. So the first time you go through, you run into a Mist Burner, you're going to put in things. You can't do anything else. All it's going to do is affect the map. The color's going to change. They're going to get a bit of a increase in stats and stuff. I don't think it shows that anywhere, but the enemies are going to get stronger, and you're going to go through and kill everything, and hopefully you're going to get a third eye. So the next time you find a mist burner, you're going to be able to put a third eye in. So this is going to have a couple of effects. One, it's going to allow you to put more levels into that Lacrima, or into the Lacrima, into the, God, I can't talk, into the mist burner. So you're going to have to put more charms in to make it get to its maximum. Right here, some of these 7s. So now it goes up to 810 on its last level, and this is going to do a couple of things. So instead of just the map changing, and you're going to run through with a timer and try to get all the portals, this is going to open a thing called the Time of Confrontation. It's a little arena-style battle with 25 levels. You're going to be facing a timer. If you are not very strong, I recommend saving your third eyes until later. If you feel you're strong enough to get through these things, the important thing to note is that you shouldn't just use these on any level. The level, the monster level that you go into the Time of Confrontation is going to be baked into the Lacrimas that you get, and the items that you put into the Lacrima are going to be directly affected by the monster level. So if you get a Lacrima at monster level 114, that means items that you put in there can't go higher than monster level or item level 114. That's important to note, because obviously later on you're going to want better items in your Lacrima. So it's something that you should pay attention to and not just use them on any level. It might be worth saving them until you can do a higher monster level. So I'm going to go through a Time of Confrontation here real quick, and then we're going to... I'm not going to do the rest of the map. I'm just going to stop the video. But I'll show you what you get, and then we're going to finish up this part of the video with the mist burner, and I'm going to go over to the Lacrima section. I don't know where I don't know why I'm saying I'm going. I'm staying in the exact same spot. But we're going to go to the next section and go from there. So once you hit this, a portal will open, and you can go into the Time of Confrontation. It's important to note that that you can do this because people will open the thing, or they'll put the third eye in and then go through the map without realizing that there was a portal. So 25 levels. Again, you've got a timer, which you can see around the corners of the map here or up here. And as you go through it, you're going to fight different levels of enemies. And I think every 5 you're going to get a chance at Lacrimas. Not sure 100% on that, but I'm pretty sure that every 5th level boss gives you a chance at a Lacrima. Again, the monster level is important here. I don't bother doing them unless I know I'm going to have a fairly high monster level. Early on, if you're doing a seasonal or something, obviously you can aim quite a bit lower. But I know now I don't ever put a third eye into a Lacrima or into a mist burner unless I know I'm going to be doing max level. If I happen to be messing around doing something else and I'm at a lower monster level than 155, I don't bother doing it. But so we're almost done here, stage 23. And again, you should keep an eye, try not to do these at lower level. I don't know why I keep restating this. I want people to make sure they're getting good stuff. The other thing you are going to get from these is Links of Unity, or pieces of Links of Unity, and that's also something that you need to be aware of for the Lacrima itself. So you're going to be getting these as well, and you will get those throughout the map as you play with a mist burner active. They are going to be important. You won't use many of them, but there is a trick with those later I am going to talk about. So for now, that was a Time of Confrontation. I got 2 Lacrimas, and I'm going to talk about those next in the Lacrima section. I'm just going to go run this map because I don't want to waste the materials, but I will see you in the Lacrima section in a second. Okay, you have completed your map with your mist burner. You have done your Time of Confrontation, and you have acquired a Lacrima. I'm going to try to break this up into tiny bite-sized sections so that you can jump through the chapters. And first, I'm just going to start with that there are 4 types of Lacrima that you could have acquired: a rare, a magic, a unique, or a legendary. Legendary are going to get their own little section because they are newly introduced here in Season 3, and they have a lot going on, and they have special drop conditions. The other ones can drop from any monster level. Anytime you do a Lacrima or a time of confrontation, you could get one. So those are the 4 different types, and I'm going to go through the stats on the Lacrimas themselves in its own little section because I've messed up talking about them a couple of times now, and I don't want this to be a super long section. So that's the start. 4 different types of Lacrimas. Let's get into the numbers. There is a ton of information on a Lacrima, and it's all important and it's all confusing when you first use them. So no matter what the Lacrima type you have acquired, this number at the top is the item level. Now that I've talked about it in the previous section, that the item level is directly related to the monster level of the map that you used when you acquired the Lacrimas. The higher this number, the better, because if this number is low, then the gear you can put into it is also going to be low. The important thing to take note, and again, I'm trying to save you guys a lot of heartache here, you should always do time of confrontation at the maximum level you can, even if it means that you're not going to necessarily get through the whole map. Making sure that the time of confrontation is high monster level so that you can get a high Lacrima level is important, because the gear you can put into your Lacrima is directly affected by this number. If you have monster level or item level 138, you can't put in gear level 139. It's not going to work. And I don't know how many times myself or other players have found the Lacrima they want with all the stats and everything, been super excited, crafted a bunch of high-end gear, wasted a bunch of materials, only to find out that they crafted item level higher than the Lacrima and they can't use it. So that's an important thing to take note of. The next is the percentage here. This is going to be directly affected by the amount of stuff you put into the mist burner to make the thing. You should always put the maximum amount of charms and stuff into the mist burner, because this number is going to affect the conversion rate of the stats that are on the gear, so that the conversion rate is going to transfer the amount of stats onto the Lacrima, which is then going to transfer to you. The higher this number is, the better. It can only go up to 20%, and that the rest of it is random. The other conversion numbers. The other things to note here are that you can have up to 3 modifiers on a magic, rare, or legendary. So that's 3 pieces of gear you can put into the Lacrima. Unique Lacrimas only can put 1 item, and it has to be specifically that item. They're not particularly heavily used unless you're talking about early in a season or a new character coming up that really needs that specific unique for some reason. But for the most part, they aren't heavily used because you can't get many stats from them. So the uniques are sort of garbage for what it's worth. But the rare, magic, and legendary can have up to 3 pieces of gear. You can only ever get 2 rares on a piece of gear. You will never see a Lacrima that has 3 rares. That is important to note because people go nuts trying to get them. You can only ever get 2 rares and 1 magic. On the legendary Lacrima, you can get 3 unique pieces, up to 3. But they are more difficult to get. The pieces of gear is something else I want to talk about here, because there is... I know I have it. There it is. Offhand confuses a lot of people when it comes to the type of gear. Offhand includes only 3 items. It includes shields, quivers, and I'm not sure what they're called, like ammo pouches for the bow guns. Hey, finger guns. But that's the only things. If it says offhand, no, you can't use a dagger because it's in your offhand. It only includes those 3 items, and that's important to note. The rest of them are self-explanatory. One-handed weapon is one-hand weapon, two-handed weapons, two-handed weapon, shield, sword, cape, blah, blah, blah. Or not shield, sword. I just said offhand. You can get up to 3 items on a Lacrima. The color of the text is the rarity of that item. So this would be, you can only use a magical glove. You can only use a rare shoe. It's important to note that I've never seen one that can use a legendary, and I'm not 100% sure that you can use legendary versions of uniques in the legendary Lacrimas. I have not had any way to test this yet. If you happen to know, please let me know in the comments, but I'm fairly confident you can't use the legendary versions of uniques in the unique only Lacrimas, or the legendary Lacrimas that let you use uniques. I think that's it for the stats on the... Nope, sorry, I was wrong. The blessing is the other important thing, okay? The blessing type means that you have to have in your charms and your chaos star enough of this blessing to use this Lacrima, and it is a determining factor. Sometimes you'll find a really good Lacrima that you're very excited to use, but it turns out that it's got a bad blessing. It's got Spica or something that you would never use. And there's not much you can do about that. You just got to try to find ones that are good for your character. That, you know, if you happen to have a 4x140 or something, that's great, because that gives you 4 options for Lacrimas. I recently made a bad decision to get a Lacrima on another character and force the blessing so that I could use the Lacrima, and it ended up not working out. But that's something important to note, is the blessing value itself. Okay, let's get into another section here and get some more information across and see what I can do. Okay, now that you know what the numbers on the Lacrima itself mean, we can look into what you want to get out of these. Now, when it comes to the stats that you're going to get from a Lacrima, there's a couple of ways to check, because not every stat can transfer over. When it comes to weapons and stuff, things like weapon damage and whatnot won't transfer, and if you're unsure of what they are, the ones that will and won't transfer, on any item, it has this little item number thingy button here that is the Lacrima. If you turn it on, it will gray out things that are not going to transfer. So if I click this right now on this particular item, you will see that the attack damage, the implicit value of this quiver, is not going to transfer to my character. You'll look at my gloves, you'll see that the armor and barrier won't, and neither will the implicit cast speed. There are also other stats that just won't transfer, and if you are trying to craft a piece... hold on, I need to get a piece of gear. I don't know why I didn't think about this before I started, but I didn't. So if you are crafting, you can click this Applied Lacrima Option Filter, okay? And it will gray out things that are not going to transfer, so that you don't craft a piece of gear and find out that, you know, a certain stat won't go. In this case, the dodge rate, gear, barrier is not going to do anything, because the dodge rate and gear barrier aren't going to transfer to your character. Things that do transfer, and I get these questions a lot. Crafted stats do transfer, provided that they are things that transfer. Authority modifiers do transfer, as long as the value is something that does transfer. And the authority implicit value does transfer. Now, at the time when I made this initially, I didn't know that that happened, so this one doesn't have an authority modifier. This one has a crappy authority modifier, and I will be going back and fixing this. This was something I figured out recently, and I wanted to make sure I put it in this video. So even your blue item, make sure you put an authority modifier on it to get that implicit value, the authority implicit value, because some of those implicit values in something like weapon, when you're trying to get area, which is hard to get, you can get that value in the Lacrima. And there's some other values that are really good, something like flat lightning damage on rings, that could make a big difference as long as you're making sure they're in there. As for the rest of the stats, basically everything will go, and it will go at the conversion rate that is indicated on the thing. If you craft something, you'll notice, I don't know why it shows this, but I crafted a value on here that reduced the initial value to 0. So hit point on kill goes to 0 so that I can get crit damage. It'll still show that I'm getting 0 hit point increase on kill. While I think that's weird, that is something to keep in mind. So yes, those are the things that transfer. And one of the big things, I think, when it comes to transferring, I'm going to hop onto another character and explain, because this is something I think can be used to great effect. And now that I've gone back and started researching this stuff to make sure that I'm doing the best for this video, this is something that I'm going to be changing on my main, because this is my main character's Lacrima, and it's terrible. But I'll hop to the other character real quick and show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so here we are on my Sentry character. Now, I've been working hard on this, which is why I haven't been putting out a lot of content. I've been trying to learn every single thing I could about sentries, because I feel it's a very underutilized build, and it's very fun. But one of the big things that I figured out about Lacrimas that I think can be used to great effect, I wish I had known about when I started building this character. So, Sentry builds, you want to get up to 5 sentries summoned at one time. And one of the ways to do that is through your weapon and whatnot. And one of the other things you want from sentries is to be able to use your attack enhance skill that will affect your sentries. So this option, okay, on my quiver, and this option on my bow, both of those take up a slot, okay, and that sucks. But if I had used those stats in here, okay, which I'm going to go back and do, because the transfer rate doesn't matter, it's going to transfer that stat 100%, because it only can, it's either, it's a binary system. It's on or off. You either have it or you don't. So when I go back, I'm going to make sure that those values are on my Lacrima rather than on my character, so that the stat, the maximum number of stats I can put on my usable gear that I'm getting at 100% value are in my character, and the ones that aren't making a big deal in terms of the stat value percent are in my Lacrima. Now, it's not going to help every build, and I'm not sure what other purposes, what other big ones you can use it for, but I got a feeling that Sentry, Minion, and Trap can make good use of that thing using the single value kind of things in the Lacrima rather than on your character. I think are going to be really well used. But I don't know what other values can be used like this, but it is something to keep in mind as you're building a character. If something is sort of that toggle style stat, make sure you're putting it on stuff in your Lacrima rather than on your character. Okay, the last thing we are going to talk about is the new legendary Lacrimas, and I'll see you over there. Okay, the legendary Lacrimas were something that was newly added to Season 3. They have specific drop conditions, okay, and they are not particularly easy to get. So even though they can be very powerful, don't get your hopes up on getting a good one, because even if you can get them to drop, like the one I've got here, this isn't going to particularly help this character. So it's not a great thing. In the case of my Sentry character, if I got certain unique pieces, it could be really, really beneficial. But getting not only the Lacrima values you need, but a blessing that you can use is going to be very difficult. Obviously, people are doing it because they grind heavily, but it isn't particularly easy to get. And that's because they have specific drop conditions. So they can only drop from a time of confrontation in a tier 10 map that is plus 17 or higher, and even then it is incredibly low drop chance. And the other way is to fight Fatal Rune Hunters, or Champions as they are called, on, again, plus 17, tier 10 or higher maps. They are very, very, very low drop chance, and even if you get them, again, it can be difficult, but they do have this special modifier, and it is what makes them so powerful. They are going to give you a unique slot, so instead of a rare or a magic, you're going to get a unique one, and you can put any unique of that type in there. So just like you could put any helmet, you could put any unique one-handed weapon. This does open up a ton of options that you can use. There's a lot of really, really powerful modifiers on uniques that the base piece of gear is not something you would want, but the mod on it could be really, really powerful. In the cases of, like, the gives you 25% extra fire damage on top of your normal attacks. That's a flat 25% damage increase, and it's also a different damage type, which lets you really change around what you can do with in terms of getting energies and stuff. And there's also a lot of other good modifiers that are very build specific. I keep bringing up my Sentry build. There's a couple of uniques that would be amazing for me to get if I could get a Lacrima that works. Again, the important thing here is the drop condition is the plus 17 or higher chaos level on your maps, and you can do it on any map type, but they will only drop from there. It's important to note that I've never seen one drop from a Constellation of Time that is maxed out, a tier 3 legendary boosted Constellation of Time. I don't know if they drop from there. I can't confirm that. And the other thing I can't confirm that I talked about earlier is if you can use a legendary version of a weapon, or not a weapon, of a piece of gear. So I'm not sure if you could use a legendary one-handed unique. If you know, please let me know in the comments. But that's pretty much it here, guys. I really hope I got everything I wanted to talk about, because frankly, this is kind of a confusing topic when it comes right down to it. Looking through, I think I got everything I really wanted to talk about. The important stuff was really that you can use those toggle, sort of the binary effect things in the Lacrima, and that you can get the authority modifiers is something that I didn't realize would transfer when I built most of my gear, and I'm going to be redoing my Lacrima because this is frankly all terrible to begin with. But I hope these help, and I'm going to be doing a revised version of some of my other videos as well. If there is a topic that you would like me to do, please let me know. Because I would love to do content that you guys want. I will keep doing videos on the events, and I wish I had known about this Coco event thing. So I'm going to talk about this quick, completely unrelated. I know there's only like 3 days left of this, but if you are stuck on the higher levels of Coco because you don't have reroll tickets, if you fail a Coco spot, okay, if you get to, I think it's 28 when you start getting only one dice, if you use your Coco thing to go to it and fail the roll, rather than using a reroll, just hit the like give up button. It'll kick you back out, and then you can use your Coco snacks again to reattempt it. I know this is sort of late into the thing, and I wish I had known this earlier. Anyways, guys, in relation to Lacrima, I hope I got everything. If I missed something, as always, please let me know in the comments, and I will make a correction. I'm glad to be back making videos, and I'm now going to work on my Century build guide video. Hopefully, I can get it out earlier in the week, but we'll see. And I hope to see you in the next one or whatever and stuff. I hope you're looking forward to Season 4 and the solo raids that come out in a few days, because I know I am. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Statler, you got anything you want to say? No, he's eating. Okay. See you later.